Welcome back. If you are new here, please subscribe, and let's just get right into it, my fellow Legion members, because today I'm going to be reviewing something. It is called GloomHaven. Now, this is a game by Isaac Childress, something like that. And it won a lot of awards. This is my review, and if you should buy this game or not. Again, so heavy. GloomHaven. Yeah. Okay, so to start off, let's read the back of this very, very huge box. This, I believe this game is not too pricey, only I think I got this for $120, so yeah, it's kind of pricey. Let's just start off with that. Let's read the back. Being a mercenary on the edge of civilization is anything but easy. For those stupid or brave enough to leave the relative safety of GloomHaven's walls, adventure, wealth, and fame await in wild and shadowy forest, snowy mountain ranges, and long-forgotten crypts. Just don't expect anyone to pay for your services up front, because no one expects you'll come back alive. GloomHaven is a cooperative game of tactical combat in a unique, evolving fantasy world. Each player will assume the role of a hardened mercenary with their own personal motives. How exciting. Together, players will fight through a campaign of scenarios that reacts and changes based on the player's actions, creating a unique game state full of discovered treasure, retired adventurers, and permanent choices. Each scenario offers players deep tactical decisions, where ability cards have multiple uses, and using the right ability at the right time can mean the difference between success and failure. GloomHaven offers streamlined tactical combat without dice against fully automated enemies, each with their own unique behavior patterns. In this box, players will find a fully realized fantasy campaign experience of unparalleled scope and depth. A video overview available at www.gameline-rules.com. Okay. The game says it's for 1 to 4 players. It says that it takes 30 minutes per player, which is a very weird time frame, and is 14 and up. It comes with 95 scenarios, which generally will take an hour or longer to play. Key term there, play. Setup. I'll get into that in a minute. There's 17 playable classes, and you unlock new classes as you play through the scenarios. Over 170 cards, 47 different enemy types, and an evolving map game board. Okay, let's review this game and go over it, and let's discuss what its strengths and what its weaknesses are. So, first of all, the game's very cool. The game has a lot, and I mean a lot, of rules and regulations and pieces. There are so many pieces. So you open it. I don't want to spoil too much by showing you a lot of what's in here, but there's just so much. Like when I first got this game and opened it up, there were so many. There's all these pieces of cardboard. You have to punch out all this stuff. It's pretty crazy. So there's a ton of stickers. Now, here is my personal problem with this game. Let me get this out of the way right off the bat, because it's a really good game. I hate this game. Okay, let me get this out of the way. But this game is awesome. I was expecting something different than what it was. So what I assumed from the descriptions and from the reviews, from what I read about the game and what I heard the game was supposed to be, was that it was going to be a legacy style. And if anyone doesn't know what legacy games are, I'm going to do a whole video series on the creator of legacy games, and also on them. But for right now, let's just say that they're games that evolve over time. So it's a board game, a normal board game, but you make what happens in one game affects future games. if that makes sense. And also, one cool thing about Legacy games is they have unlockable content that's like in the box. You've got these like hidden compartments that you can't open until you do certain things in the game. This game, I was expecting to be like that, first of all. Second of all, I expected this game to be story-based. I was looking for a way for me to basically play Dungeons and Dragons without a game master and by myself. This game is not that. So anyone who thinks that this is a story-focused game, it is not. It is a tactical combat game without dice, with set everything. I personally feel like this game would have benefited if they had used dice in place of some of their very complex rule systems for this deck building idea that they have. But enough about that. Let's go into it. So, first of all, you have the rule book. Now, the rule book is 51 pages long. It's in big letters, though. It's easy to read, but not very easy to understand. And I can't even... if I was teaching you how to play this game, that would take up a multi-part video series where each video is like 15 minutes long, all right? So this is not something that I can just go over, oh, this is how you play. I've tried to teach people how to play this. I've tried to teach people how to play this game, and they can't understand it. I can't even teach it to them right. Because it's so much. It's too much. In my opinion, the game has too much going on. It's so complex that it turns people off to the game. Some people will like it, some people will not. It won Game of the Year, and it's a very cool game. So that's the rule book. You also get this other book, which is basically the story or the scenarios. Now, the way the scenarios works, all the different scenarios work they are all linked. So the first one, you get an introduction, so some introductory text. Then it shows you how to set up the map with the enemies and their placement. Then you have to clear the map or complete whatever objective they put before you. Then you get another text block, which is the conclusion. Then you have your rewards and the next location or locations if you want to make a choice on what path you're going to take. Now, that is the general idea of all the gameplay in this game. Now, I keep saying now. These are cool. There are sealed envelopes with more stuff in them. That's pretty cool. I liked that. I wish that this had been more of a focus of the game. Some type of hidden content, because I really like that in Legacy games. Especially in board games, which I feel like don't really live up to role-playing games. Like, most board games can't stand against role-playing games. For my specific playstyle. You get a town records, which you are able to slowly figure out how GloomHaven was founded and what it means and stuff. So then you have all of this. Let's see. 1,000,000 pieces of cardboard that all lock into each other. These pieces of cardboard will create the maps. Now, that's one cool thing about this game, even though there's so many pieces, so that's really annoying. Plus, all the pieces are double-sided, so it's very difficult to keep track of since they all have names. C1B, C1A, A1B, A1A, A2, C2, yeah, H2C, yeah, okay. So these can connect together, and you can create entire maps with them. That's pretty cool. Then underneath all of this, you have... there's just so much. There's just so much. You have your... This is... It looks like a game board, but it's really just a map. The map doesn't really have all that much going on. It has something for you to keep track of your prosperity, which will add new items to the item shop. Let's see. Then you have, what is this? It's like 13 classes or whatever they said. They did whatever the number of classes is. There's 5 unlocked at the beginning, and each character gets a quest, which is what their life goal is. When you make a character, and really making a character is only cosmetic, there is no real story. Like when you make a backstory, it doesn't really influence the actual story because there is no game master, so it can't really take in your made-up backstory into account. And your name and all that stuff, it really is just cosmetic. Every single person who makes a character of the specific class gets a deck of cards to build their hand. And the hand of cards is their way of fighting. And then the main point of the game is you're clearing out a map of enemies. So this game, I think, should have been renamed Dungeon Crawl Simulator, because that's what it is. That is exactly what this game is. This is a dungeon crawl simulator. Now, one cool thing about this game is there are a ton of cards. There are cards for, like, random encounters. That's really cool. Then you have... Let me show you some of the random encounter cards. So, random encounter cards. Here's one. You find yourself incredibly drunk and gambling away your hard-earned gold at the brown door when a robed woman approaches you. Please, she says, you must help me. They've taken my only daughter. I beg you. It's so sad. She slides a parchment towards you. They left this behind. You look down to see nothing but the symbol of an upside-down black bird. Ravens, a man mutters. Bad business. A bouncer approaches. Take that garbage outside. You're troubling the customers. Then you get 2 options. Option A, leave with the woman to help her find her missing daughter, or B, refuse to help the woman go back to gambling. Depending on what you choose, you turn it around and you get some other, and you get different outcomes. I'm not going to spoil the outcomes of anything in this game. And then there's a lot of unlocked cards, or cards that you can unlock throughout the game. Now, here's one of the major problems with this game. This and this. This is my copy of the game. These did not come with bags. The biggest problem with this game is there are literal hundreds and hundreds. I don't know if there's thousands, but it feels like there's thousands of pieces. They're all unique pieces. There are some, like there's gold, so there's some pieces that aren't unique, but there's a lot of unique pieces. There's cards. There's hundreds of different decks of cards. There's like 7 or 8 different decks of cards. Then each of those decks of cards is numbered. And it's really hard, so then you can't look at half the deck, but you can look at the other half. Then you slowly unlock the second half out of order as you play through the campaign. And that's just one deck. It's really difficult to keep track of everything. And that's one of the big problems with this game is there's no organization at all. There's no organization at all. There's just so many pieces. There's bags and bags of pieces. All these. I got rubber bands to put together the decks. And then there's this. And, I mean, I got a tin for this, but put tape on it because this tin won't stay closed, but come on. Inside, you shall find a million little pieces. These each have their own stands. They're basically your enemies in the game. And yeah. Long story short, this game has too much. And that is my ultimate problem with it, is that it's a good tactical dungeon crawl simulator. The story, for the purposes of this video, I went a little ahead in the story from where I was because I didn't really get very far because this game I couldn't really continue playing. So I looked ahead in the book. The story is a very generic type of fantasy story, and I'm not going to spoil any of it for you, but basically it's literally the cosmic force from the outside that wants to take all life, and drain everything into itself, and you're fighting it. That's pretty much the story. There are a bunch of side stories. There are a couple unique ones, but most of them are very, very, very generic. It's an okay fantasy game. Another big problem with it for me is that it does not feel epic fantasy at all. It feels very gritty. So it's trying to be epic fantasy with its story, but all of the characters are extremely... none of them are stereotypical heroes, which is interesting, but doesn't really fit with the world the way these characters are. Like these classes, none of these classes are classes you would find in a normal fantasy game. There's no warrior, there's no paladin, there's no mage. You have, or maybe there is a mage. Then you have the brute, then you have the tinkerer. That's the, I don't remember. They made up a lot of names for these classes. And then you slowly unlock more classes. Each of the characters has a little stand, which I'm pretty sure you can paint, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, there's just so much to this game. And my final problem with it is that GloomHaven takes about 2 hours to set up for me. For me to set it up, because there is no formula. Like Axis and Allies, if any of you have played that game, you know that takes a long time to set up. But Axis and Allies is there's a set way you're setting that game up. In Germany, you put 2 tanks and, I don't know the exact stats, but the idea is that the first time we played Axis and Allies, it took us 4 hours to set it up. Then the second time, 2 hours, we started to get the hang of it until now we can set up Axis and Allies in an hour or 2. This game takes like 2 hours to set up and 2 hours to put away and 1 hour to play. That's a lot of prep time. Then there's the fact that even I, who have read the entire rulebook multiple times, don't entirely understand everything in the rules. And that's kind of a problem for me, seeing as, like, what am I supposed to do? Especially since the entire game is very tactics-based. And it's not like you're attacking each other and you have hundreds of health. You have like 6 hit points and stuff like that. The game is a little bit like Call of Cthulhu in that the mortality rate seems very high to me. But the problem between this game and Call of Cthulhu is when you die, you have to restart. You just have to restart the mission. You have to reset all the pieces, and there's no real consequence for losing except you have to do it again. That is very frustrating to me. So, yeah, overall, GloomHaven is a very ambitious, very cool game that I guess deserved for a board game the Game of the Year award. It has a lot of stuff, a lot of bells and whistles. There is not a good core experience for me and for role players in general or people who want a good story. You're not going to find that in GloomHaven. I want to warn you off this game. Should you buy it at $120? No. I am disappointed that I got this game. I asked for it for Christmas. It was a Christmas present. It came really late. I was sad that it didn't come when I wanted it to. And then when it came, it was not what I expected at all. So I would like to warn you against buying this game. GloomHaven is for power gamers. is for tacticians and for people who like ridiculous amounts of prep time, or for people who design their own freaking those wooden boxes that I keep seeing online, like made. They're custom made, and they're for like holding game pieces. I think that would be very useful for this game. This game should have come with some type of tray or multiple trays, or just, it's so unorganized, and all the battle decks could have been solved, I think, with dice as opposed to having a 60 card deck. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about this game if you've played it before in the comments. And if you liked my opinion on this, drop a like. Thank you very much for watching, and Deathstroke 9 will return soon with more content. Also, thank you to everyone who's subscribed. I'm soon going to be changing the way I go about making videos, I think. I might stop just streaming a thing into the computer from OBS, and I might start actually using like a normal camcorder to record stuff, so I'll be able to use cuts and different angles and stuff. I don't know, though, because that will take a lot longer. I'm also thinking about doing shout-outs for subscribers now that we have some, so thank you to everyone who has supported me up to this point. I'm currently expanding my horizons, and we have a lot of cool stuff coming up, so thank you all. You're awesome. Also, don't buy GloomHaven. Thanks for watching. See you soon.